In this tutorial, we will demonstrate how to process user requests with the action object in struts. We'll demonstrate through a simple example. Just take a look at this example. So this is a simple example for user registration. It has two different types. Just let register 1 and register 2. In register 1, if you click, it will ask for email address and password, and similarly in register 2 it will ask for username and password. But for first register 1, whatever you put here, it will always tell success. It does not do any verification. And for register 2, it will just do some simple verification on the email address and the password, and based on the user input it will go to different destination page. Just we'll see how this action object is redirecting it to different pages. So first with register 1, test 1 2 3, it doesn't even check if the email address is valid or not. Just click on sign up. It is going to congratulations, the success page. And in register 2, if you give some arbitrary values here and some arbitrary values here, so it is telling illegal email address because we saw that we did not use the @something.com, or so it's just illegal email address. So I'm just giving the right format for the email address and the password 1 2 3. So I think password needs to be 6 characters here. So password is at least 6 characters, so it is some bad password. And if I give the right password 6 character, it will say success. Actually this congratulations success and the register 1 congratulations success are the same thing. So what are the steps that are going on in the back? Actually I have provided a simple tutorial, simple article on it. You can just take a look. Okay, just go to just etc.net. So search with processing requests with action objects. Okay, still the article is here, but it will not be always here. Okay, so what really goes inside? Actually in the first form, it can be the register 1 or register 2, whatever. In register 1 or register 2, in the form we mention something.do as part of the form action object. So this is the source code. This is our the register 1. So from the form, what we do, we refer to register 1.2, and after that this do, it is searched in the struts config.xml file for action named X. Just if you see here in webinf start config, so in the action mappings you will see something x.do, that is in our case register 1.2. so we just see register 1. We are not mentioning that .2, and then we provide this action, and we also provide the corresponding class of this action. So this type, this is just a class, this action is of this type. And so from x.2 it comes in the struts config, and it says that it's a class, and it will go to that class and execute the corresponding execute method. I think this is the register action 1 class, and it will execute the execute method. And in the execute method, actually we will return a string using the mapping.findForward. It can be success or anything, a string, whatever you prefer. So we also have mentioned here the method will usually return a string using mapping.findForward. Some string we also see in register action 2. It will also returning password error, address error, success based on the logic. And what will happen next? So these strings will be then searched in struts config XML again, and it can be in the global forward section or as part of the action. So for register 1 there is no action, sorry, there is no forward as part of it, but we just have the global forward, and we saw that for the register 1 it's just the success page always, irrespective of whatever. But for register 2 we saw that the forward string can be address error, password error, or success, and it is part of the action. So when the forward string is address error, the control goes to address error to JSP file. When the string is password error, the control goes to password error.jsp file. Just here we see, based on the situation, we are returning this thing. When the email address is invalid, then address error. When the password length is more than 6, it's password error. Actually it is hard coded, but maybe we should make it dynamic in practical cases. So this is the success. Okay, so what are the steps to create such an application? So initially you have to create the directory structure. So you have to have a one web.inf folder, and you have to have the library folder liv, and you have to put all the necessary class files, and you can put your Java source files under web.inf src folder. You can create one more folder here, and also you can create another web.inf classes folder under web.inf classes folder. You can compile those source Java files, source class files, and after compilation they will go to classes. In our case, I put all the source files into the classes folder, and after compilation they remain in the same folder, I mean in the classes. So we see that all the Java and class files will be there. Okay, I think it just displays the anyway. And in the results, I just kept all the output pages, the destination pages, where the forwards are redirected to. So, and also under web.inf, you need the struts config.xml file, and also web.xml file. The best thing is it starts with a blank application, as we have demonstrated in our previous examples, previous trainings. So get the basic skeleton of the application, starts application, and add the necessary files, classes, and modify the configuration files. So here I also have mentioned how to create the application step by step. First, we can create the initial index files or the forms. In our case, register1.jsp, register2.jsp, the files that contains the this kind of form. Just this is the register1.jsp. So you have to define this register1.jsp or register2.jsp, and in those forms, in the action attribute, you have to give the corresponding action name. So if you check it here, So we have given register2.2 for the register2.jsp. So after that you have to define it in the struts config XML file, the corresponding action. I have defined the register1 or the register2, and you also have to define the corresponding forward name and corresponding destination pages. I think here we have provided destination page to be JSP page, but it's not a must thing. You can also use another action as the destination page for this. And for register1 action, we see that there is no forwarding. I think in our case it will just use a default forward named success, so it goes to the success. So after defining the forward and the destination pages, we can also we also mention the name of the classes for the corresponding actions. So we have to write those classes. So here I have written those classes. Under web-inf classes, I have a net folder. Under net folder, I have a just etc folder. Under that, I have that class. So you have to write the class and you have to write the corresponding execute method. And in the execute method, you have to write your logic, and based on the logic, you have to return success or failure or whatever string you want. And you have to make sure that whatever the forward string you provide in the struts config file, it has to be similar here also. So we also have defined the register 2. So this is the step, and we are also retrieving some values from the form, user supplied parameters from the form. Actually, in our case, we use the simplest HTML form, but we could define it using a form bin, and we could process it in a different way. I think we could do it in the action form, but we'll see this in our next example or subsequent examples. So after that, you can just create the destination pages. In our case, so it comes here when the email address is not right or not in the right form, and it comes here when the password is not with right length. I think it's better to use the smaller text for HTMLs and those kind of stuffs. That way you are compatible with XHTML, and also you have to make sure you terminate each tag. So that's about it. There is nothing much. So after that, you can just compile this application and deploy under Tomcat or whatever web server you want. So for deployment purposes, we have built we have written an end file. So we just mentioned that we want to use the environment folder, environment variables. That's how we know that where is the Tomcat installed, or where is the source directory, where is the build directory. And we see by default we are just giving the compile, so it is just compiling source directory to destination directory, and we are using the javac command. So, and one more thing, in the web-inf folder, in the web.xml file, we are also mentioning the welcome file. It is the index.jsp. So the application will go to the index.jsp file at the beginning, and they're also telling we are using .2 as the file extension, and also we are telling that we are using action servlet for the processing of those actions and the control flow.